Hello and welcome everybody, this is Sensei here, and tonight we're going to be designing a car in automation for other people to judge us. That's right, we are doing something I don't think I've seen covered at all on YouTube before, a forum competition. Now the automation community that is on the official Discord and such often considers these competitions to be the main gameplay and the stuff I usually do, the campaign, to be some broken garbage that doesn't work. Now, I can only halfway agree with that, but I thought I'd give this a shot on video for once. I've done a couple of these before. I've not got any good results. Let me explain how it works. So CSR is called the Car Shopping Round. And number 142 here, you can see this competition is going on for a while, usually weekly. So the theme of the car shopping round is that we are all trying to design the perfect car for one individual customer. And then the judging for the cars consists of looking at each car and eliminating the least attractive options in the course of a few rounds, until it comes down to a few finalists we should analyze in detail. Now, I've always got thrown out right in the first round, that is to say, getting binned. That's probably what has happened here, because the cars in the CSR are most of all judged by their appearance, and that's the part I'm least good at. I'm sure I can build something interesting, and in the course of a couple of videos, I'll build my car, and then we'll get to see what everyone else built for the same challenge, and be impressed with all their pretty cars that are better than mine. So, what's the brief? It's set in 1995 in California. Jason Zhang has this previous automation car from, Kaizen. I think that I might have seen a Kaizen or two before in other competitions. It's a small sedan, and he needs a bigger luxury sedan for his family. He has a few requirements. It's going to be from 1995. Has a certain wheelbase. Has to beat emissions. $50,000 is our price limit. We'll ideally want to come in a little under that. We don't want to be the most expensive car in the market. And we have 135 engineering time limit. And it must be a 4-door sedan with 5 seats. The engine has to have 150 engineering time max. That leaves us lots of room. Unleaded fuel only, noise limit, mufflers. We're going to make it quieter than that for sure. And of course it says use common sense. While a good portion of the judging does come down to direct statistics, people always get kicked out for crazy designs that wouldn't make sense in real life. Now I'm thinking sort of car I want to build. It's going to be probably something like a Taurus SHO with a front-wheel drive and a V8. Maybe all-wheel drive if I feel like it's in the budget and it works better. And we have a set of priorities for our character here. It should be unassuming, but look good. So not like a loud design. It has to drive nicely, has to be comfortable, has to be safe. Middle priority is has to be reliable, so not super reliable. It is a luxury sedan. Nothing that's like terrible. Has to have practicality. That's the stat that governs, how much passengers and cargo you can fit in a car in automation. And it shouldn't have too high service costs. That's a low priority. Oh, and fuel economy is middle priority as well. So, that's judged kind of relative to other entries usually. So if you're above average or below average, that's what matters. And we see examples of good 90s luxury sedans. Mercedes, Lexus, BMWs, Audis, Cadillacs. And a Lincoln. That's probably closest to the sort of thing I'm aiming for. So I've actually made up a brand to use in competitions before called Transit Star for American cars, and that's probably what I'm going to go for here today. And we even have some advice. Perfect is the enemy of good enough. You will literally have a breakdown if you try to make everything in life perfect. And an anecdote. I was eating a pretty much perfect slice of cake today. I was so focused on it, I knocked over a brand new knife and cut my wrist. So, basically, if we try too hard to be perfect, we'll be cursed. Now, this competition's been open for a few days. I'm actually getting here a little on the late side, and a lot of cars have already been submitted. You can see that's pretty good looking. The interior's detailed. I hate making interiors, but I'm probably going to have to anyway. What else we have? So, this is like the stiffest competition you can be up against, which is why I say I'm pretty likely to just get my car thrown out in the first round. Some of the people who are the most obsessed with automation in the world are in these competitions, and CSR is the biggest of the forum competitions. But I'm going to have fun comparing, when the judging actually comes around, my car to some of the decisions made in the more successful cars. Now, I never feel like I get it right the first try, so I'm not going to spend too long going over each detail. I'll start in, see how my stats are looking, and then revisit my design decisions once I have a total cost in for the car. As we can see here, the Transit Star Gnome, that's a car that I made for a competition. I put a lot of effort into, and I didn't do too well there, but I took it and I also brought it to one of the Automation Beam live racings where it also didn't do too well. That's mostly just doing my driving. So, new car model. Alright, so 1995, and our wheelbase has to be between 2.7 and 3 meters. We're only looking at sedans pretty much. The exception maybe of some coupes. Now I'll just turn that off until I really need to find something weird, and I'll do that. So what do we have? This 3 meter one's nice. The kind of Audi looking guy with a plastic trim. I like this. Looks kind of beefy, kind of chunky. Get some big wheel wells arches there. And this guy's pretty Honda looking, not very American. The Mercedes, also a very recognizable shape. I think that's a... You pick something that's too recognizable, and it's kind of hard to make it your own car when you get to the fixtures. Well, I'm sure I'm not the only person to pick this, but I like this kind of big, squarish... It's kind of like General Motors deal. What's it called, anyway? Sometimes they have hints. 95 full sedan. I think there's like a one actually named like E36. Alright, so this looks like a big, imposing car. You can believe it have a V8 under the hood. Now let's see. Panel materials. Partial aluminum? Absolutely gotta be a monocoque frame. Galvanized steel chassis. There was a note in there about environmental resistance, and that's always iffy because the pricing of these things are weird, and in campaign nobody cares. But we can just kind of roleplay and say, yeah, this will, avoid falling apart in assault. Front transverse. Get some multi-link suspension in the rear. with double wishbones in the front. That's the most comfortable setup that we can make. Gotta name the car according to the competition requirements. Yeah, CSR 142 and your forum username. And the trim will be the name of the car. It's going to be the Transit Star. Let's go for the Centaur. It's strong, but graceful. Fantastic. With a nasty cast iron block. Overhead cam, 4 valves. Ooh, we can get variable valve lift if we want to. VTEC, yo. And how well does that fit in the bay? Very well. Our 4-liter V12 at the default bore would do just fine. I get 4.5 liters here. Yeah. All right. That could be a little big. But we'll see how it does. I'm going to go straight to forged parts. I think that's in the budget for a $50,000 vehicle. Actually, make this thing so big, I'm probably going to have to go all-wheel drive. Maybe I'll start off that way. Compression cams, come back to that. Variable valve timing, yes, that's a very cheap feature for fuel efficiency. Of course, it would be fuel injected. And it runs on regular. With nice headers. And a 3-way high-flow cat. Quiet mufflers. And in the current configuration, it is knocking. So let's see here. We're at 116 engineering time, which means I have some quality points to spend if I want to. We can safely rev it out to almost 8,000. I could probably go for cheaper piston material. Is it exhaust choked here? Yes, it is. Alright. So we had a maximum loudness of 40, with less being preferable. And the thing about the car like this, dual exhausts. There we go. Now I think I'm not too exhaust choked. I've got 300 horsepower out of this thing. That's not bad for 1995 at all. And we're at 31 loudness. That might be louder than some of the competition, but it's also not bad. And I can throw quality points at that exhaust. And at the top end, get some RPMs in that. If I were to go to cast iron, then this engine would just not work. Yeah, I think be able to rev this far after the peak, that 6,500 where it just peaks, is good for a luxury car. I take the cams down a little notch though. The lower I take the cam, the better fuel efficiency we get. What else changed? Oh, we can compress it more. Alright. So we won't know what kind of gas mileage this sucker actually gets. But, yeah, sounds powerful but quiet. So let's see. It's gotta be the 4-door. I think I like the more pronounced 3-box design. More traditional. And of course, fixtures are going to be really the bigger task compared to everything else, but that might be what I do last. Let's see, if I just make it front-wheel drive, am I going to have problems? Medium tires at 245 width, 18-inch rims. Looks about right. Discs all around. Should have soft pads. 5 seats is a requirement. Hmm. 1995 is an awkward era. I can have a luxury cassette for cheaper than I have a premium CD player. Because CD players are very new. Must have the good power steering, the good traction control, and the good safety. With, ooh, active suspension is an option, and might be a good choice at this price point. Just gonna put all the active shit in and price it out. So at a glance, if we were selling this on the campaign markets, it'd be a beautiful premium car. Or family premium, or luxury. But it all comes down to our approximate cost here is $42,000. I'd say that puts us in a good place. We are not wheel spinning or anything like crazy, so I think I can afford to keep this car two-wheel drive, because although we're going all-wheel drive would be nice. See, it gets a little more drivability, a little more sporty, and more comfortable. That actually puts us over our engineering time, although we're still well on monetary budget. I think for all the other features I want to have, I can have it be two-wheel drive, and that's okay. I think it's better gas mileage two-wheel drive. Now let's see. Gear spacing. Dang, this sucker goes 180 miles an hour. I feel like I can limit that to 155 miles an hour. There we go. That's a common top speed limit for cars. I don't feel like our guy is going to mind, and it makes our tires cheaper. As I widen out the gear spacing, we get a better 0 to 60 time, and we get a better fuel economy. 6.8 seconds is not bad for a heavy luxury, car like this. I'm really watching. What is it? 135 ET, right? Yes. Gotta spend that out carefully. About 130 for the trim. Let's see. Oh, and emissions. Our trim emissions. They're somewhere. 600. Oh, we have a problem there. So with a trim emissions limit of 400. Yes. Something's gotta change. I have never really worked hard on trim emissions. So you have an emissions stat on your engine, which is just, for the engine itself. But the trim, I think, also cares about your actual, gearing and the weight of the car and stuff like that. So, for example, if I change the gear spacing, does that affect my emissions at all? 609.5. How is that? 78. 609.3, so barely. What about if I make the engine small? Suddenly it's a 3 liter. Are my emissions better? Yes, but barely. So you can see that's really tricky. There's not an easy way to control that, I feel like. I may have to think about this a little bit. Hyper-eutectic cast gives me a lot lower emissions. But still too much. God, I could end up ruining this entire car just trying to control emissions. What if I lower compression and lean it out? Did that help? Yeah, lean fuel seems to help. But 8.8 to 1 compression ratio, now we're there. 355 emissions. Alright. Can I bring the size back up? Now that's causing some problems apparently, but oh, I forgot to put fuel system quality in here. Yeah, a little extra quality on the fuel system seems to go a long way. Not just for fuel economy, but for emissions. So we are under the target. We are making good power. What size have I made my engine now? 5 liters? Jesus. But I guess that's fine. And, oh, my pistons are blowing up. If I go back to lightweight forge, am I still okay? No. So now I'm looking at an engine here. This engine only meets emissions requirements if I use the low friction pistons. But the low friction pistons, well, they don't rev. They'll really want to frickin' brake. Let's go down to 4.2 liter V8. Barely makes a difference. Size isn't the primary problem here. All right. See if I reduce the stroke a little bit. That gets me those pistons in there without breaking anything. But we lost like 25 horsepower. Guess I'll manage somehow. Make the engine too big, I also add a lot of engineering time to the car itself. So we're at a 4.2 liter V8 now. It has to push the car over. My gearing graph now needs to be changed, I think, because I'm not making much power. So there, I've got it electronically limited to 155 miles an hour. I have the peak power of the last gear with that. 0 to 60 is 7.7 now. I think it was 6.8 earlier, wasn't it? Doesn't seem to matter anything what gearing I give it. Kind of stuck around 7.4. Huh. That's weird. One single notch makes a big difference. And the car is considered more sporty. That's the notch that gives it slower acceleration. That's cool. I can also afford to go a little narrower on the tires. Since we really don't have much wheel spin problems. Now 225s. You can go to 215s. It's It's apparently getting more comfortable as I do this. And of course, better gas mileage. We're up from 14 to 16 miles a gallon. Almost 17. Okay, what else? Suspension setup. I think, you know, I don't usually settle that quickly, but I think I'm happy with the basic feature set here. I've got the stuff I really need. Get an LSD? Nah, I don't want to lemon slip depth, it's just expensive. Oh, alloy wheels, oh, I missed that. Steel wheels are not ideal. This handling graph needs some attention. The car's a little understeery, so rear camber needs to go away. Front sway bar needs to go away. We need to keep our body roll angle under 7 degrees. That's for like maximum comfort. And I think we're about right. Now I can mess with the ride height and spring stiffness. Really, the default's probably about right where I want it. That's optimized for comfort and drivability. Like some dampers taken out. Of course, I have to not go too much just based on market scores, what I tend to do for campaign, but when actual humans looking at it, they kind of have their own criteria. So hopefully 16.8 is not like a horrible outlier for gas mileage. It's a low priority, seems to be good enough. Emissions are still legal. Let's see, I think get a little more. Man, I just keep losing power every time I touch the engine. Exhaust can get a hair smaller. We're at 260 now. You can go all cast iron internals, since I lowered my max RPM and my stroke. I think I've got about the build I want now. Let's give it a little rim offset. It's got to match up with the body here a bit. That looks almost a little bit stanced from the factory. This body's a little funny with how much these wheel arches cover up. And are we about where I want the stats? I think I'm happy with it. The drivability, sportiness, safety, comfort. Well, sportiness is just a little bit, but drivability, comfort, and safety are all up in the 60s. We're getting 17 miles to the gallon, and the car costs $43,000. So we are doing okay. I can sneak a point of quality in somewhere. I think it's worthwhile. I do like to go steering. Eh. Maybe +3 on the interior. Now about 45,000. That's probably good. We're going all out in comfort. So now the Transit Star Centaur, it's got to have a face and everything else. I must, of course, think back to my my inspirations. So what do I like? BMWs have these distinctive double things. I like the Volvo S80. But that's kind of got a body feature that I don't think I can engineer into this body, which is the center of the hood. Has that big V going on. If I can make that neatly, then that'd be cool. But I think it'd be hard to do on this body because there's such a smooth curve that it might not look right. Let's make a paint. I think I like Just a nice white paint. Or maybe a blue to match the transit star paint that's on the gnome. Got my Castle Motors paints in here still. Gold? I could do gold. Some chrome trim in here because we are luxurious. Hopefully I'm not doing too bad on the, overstatement. I wanted this middle part to be plastic, but I can't do that easily. I'll have to do it manually or just make it all plastic. Pillar trim. Make pillar trim chrome and window trim plastic. That's a little more like it's a little more understated. Doesn't stand out from the gold paint at all though. I want a little bit of chrome to stand out. The paint needs to be a little more understated. So let's go take some flake out of that. A little darker. We're now getting into dangerously brown territory. It's not brown, it's burnt orange. And now from this big block of clay, I have to construct a personality with fixtures pretty much. So why not start with picking out some wheels? I have all of the mod wheels downloaded. And it's the 90s, so I feel like it's time for some, well, there's still alloy wheels, maybe not the plastic hubcaps, but something like this could do. What's on our example cars? Yeah, big flat looking things. I feel like that's about era appropriate. These look a little more modern. So I can just scroll for days in all these different hubcaps and lose track of what I had originally. Ah, that's pretty 90s. I want to go with that. You know, I haven't tuned my brakes. If I make them bigger, I can keep them balanced out and get a little softer brake pads for more comfort. And we gained a lot of sportiness by upgrading the brakes. A little air past them. That's cost me gas mileage, but you know, if it means the brakes aren't overheating, that's good. Now, ooh, a face for this transit star. That's gonna be the really hard part for me. We need a grill, we need headlights. In theory, I like the idea of some kind of raised feature, but I'm not sure I can pull it off. See, this I like. The reverse vent here gives a little more aggressive look and gives us our extra hood line. But the front of it, well, it looks ghastly, but I can probably cover it up with some fancy chrome for our big grill up front here. Now, what a lot of people do is they just cut out stuff and kind of make their own grill shape. I'm not sure if I'm as up for that. What's on, say, the Lincoln? So we get kind of an oval shaped grill. Cadillac was the one like I'm going for. That's got a flat kind of top grill. Headlights are on the side. Mm-hmm. Bill shape I want. Although it doesn't cover up the ugly corner of this hood piece. And just make narrower. Might do the job. And this paint color is not going to last. Can't really see very well on it. And then the bumper is too big. Can I morph that? Still with a body morph. What can I change here, actually? I can reduce the enormous stance of these wheel wells. Happily. Can't make the cabin here any bigger. Pillar slides. I can give myself a little more room for headlights up here. Dang, that's a big flat front. It's kind of Rolls Roycey. Bring this bumper in. I'd like to bring this bumper in a lot more. It kind of dictates the shape of my grill. But I'll have to cover that with something. That's just too tall. I'll take a grill that cuts into this somehow, I think. Fog lights down there, because this is a lot of empty space. Yeah, I can definitely see I have tail lights in the sides, right in the tailgate. A little extra cargo. Probably like that. Yeah, we can cut into the bumper like that. And then, That's the start. Yeah, all this chrome up here is just getting fucked off to like paint over it or something shit. This is the sort of trouble I always run into, right? Let's see again. One of these cars had like a deep cut into the bumper. I'm trying to figure out if I can emulate it. That might be the sort of thing that you just have to do with like big cutout tools. And yeah, I like this shape. I gotta alter the bumper a little bit to give me some room. I like the chrome underneath the headlights. Might steal that. So this choppy paint stuff, I'll have to deal with that somehow, and the grill needs to be filled in, but I can get to that in a little bit. We got some headlights. That's deliciously 90s looking. But I think I want something with a version of like a flatter front end. I'm not gonna be able to make these fit. I need him to do. No. That's getting closer. I want to follow this hood line upwards. It's far too modern looking, but I like the shape basically. That's more like it. Square headlights. I have to fiddle with the exact shape and position, I think, to make everything line up nice. For example, this kind of angle on the end here should match up a little better with the grill. I might have to just cut out manually. But we're getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere. And I like the beneath the headlight chrome. That's a nice little distinction. Not one Volvo or something. I'll just make that out of bumper bars. Because, you know, they're just what you make everything out of in this game. Mirror that. Clone. Drag. Get some end bits on there. But I might be moving the headlights anyway, so I can finalize everything, but I like the basic gist of that. And we're gonna need down the bottom, that's too square. What happens on these cars? They get like a black little lip around thing and vents. Using actual vent might be a little silly for this, but I guess we some roundedness. Oh, it's smiling. I don't want to smile though, I want to be angry. I want some nice square looking stuff. That's too modern looking, but it's about off to the start that I want. Might make that body color? Maybe. That might not be right. And we have some fog lights down near the end of that. And all of these cars, pretty much. Yeah. They all have like the little lower vent fog lights. And a black lip. That doesn't really morph to hit the body, does it? Is this one? No. Pity, because that's like exactly what I wanted, and most of these don't match up. Rubber looking. You have to go all the way around. Looks very aggressive, but I like it. If this doesn't get bitten for being straight up ugly, it'll get bitten for being too flashy. I'll have to cover that with some body colored bumper bar. Let's get a fog light in here. That's more like it. That kind of follows body lines. Well, yeah. Makes way too deep a hole in here, kind of. It's also having a bit of a fight between plastic chrome all down here and... or plastic trim all down here and chrome trim all up top. Only one can survive, I think. Yeah, so far we are not up to CSR standards anywhere close. But I have a loose mock-up, and I think I kind of like the vibe I'm getting from this. Maybe before I get going for tonight, I'll have to make the rest of this car, I think, another episode. But, what do we have for some door handles? I'm liking these plasticky boys. Make that follow the body line. A little bigger. Blown it over. Rear ones don't get a lock on them. Now we're talking. Definitely need some kind of bar trim in the middle here. So one of the cars we're looking at was that Lincoln Continental. You can see on the side, yeah, it's got all that plastic going on. And plastic mirrors, too. These things are not quite right. Okay, align the horizon. Become smaller. I think those kind of stick out too much. I don't think I like it. What else we got for mirrors? These are nice and simple looking. They need to be bigger. There we go. It's got some plastic mirrors on it. And if I can pick out some basic kind of tail lights. Let's see. Help me, Google. It's on the rear of the Continental. Big ass light bar. Goes all the way across. Or maybe not, depending who you ask. This version's got a... I think I like this more. We'll get some tail lights. I think it kind of resembles the grille design in the middle of the tailgate. Taillights are going to be on the side of the tailgate following the seam. What do I have to work with here? That kind of follows the shape of the car nicely. I have to patch over that maybe. This is the part that always goes wrong for me. Turns the car into a complete mess, but... that's the wrong kind of patch. I know there's a kind of patch I can put on that should cut that out. I don't really mean to use an actual body shape for this, but try it. That's very silly looking. I don't think I'll be able to stick with that, but that's what I want it to look like as far as the tail lights go, to get cut off right there. Let's see, we've got twin exhausts going on. I feel like those should be cut into the bumper. That sounds right for this car. That looks a little too racy. That doesn't help at all. What's like sunk in to the bumper? It still looks 90s-ish. Town car is a little cut out underneath, huh? And use this kind of overly sporty design to get body color so it blends in. I said you will change your paint color there. Get that without the tips on it. There's just too much. Now we're getting somewhere. I And remember, the usual theme of this is I end up redoing everything later. So I know this looks like ass, but hopefully it'll look like, you know, less ass at some point in the future. But I can't let this car go away without like a little stock car spoiler. That's arch too much. It doesn't follow. It's got to follow this line. I don't think I have a way to get a spoiler that actually like is further along the length of the car at the tips than it is in the middle. So it curves like this. You just can't do it. Ah, that's ghastly. That's horrible. Get it away from me. Oh, and I deleted the lights too at some point. That's cool. They'll conform in a minute, I guess. Meanwhile, down here, let's pick some exhaust tips. I just really want them. There, the exhaust is working properly this time. I think that still sticks out kind of far. It seems to happen if I click on it and change the depth, this in 2D mode. So that doesn't really stick out less, it just gets like that. Oh, well, yeah, that's a little nuts. Let's just bring that back to normal. And maybe I can just 3D it. There we go. That's a bit less crazy. So let's see. The bumper is huge and fat. I think on the back I can afford to leave it be a little more than I did on the front. Maybe get you, yeah, I like the continuation of the chrome trim from the sides on this Lincoln. I want to try and make this thing. So let's see. That's that. Upside down. And this grill will poof become a little recessed shape in the tailgate. And we can get like a handle and some, is the license plate in there? Yeah, license plate in there, some license plate lights. That's a very, very rough outline. I might do some off camera because I just have to second guess myself every time. I don't think it'll be that much to watch. I'll come back to you and have something a little more presentable in the next episode.